It's 57.
I started.
Okay.
So you're on air.
We are on air.
So don't make any despicable noises.
Okay, give me an example of a despicable noise. All right?
You know, like passing gas, burping.
Oh, stop it.
You asked.
I don't pass it. I hog it. Okay. So what do we got?
See what's going
got a
on.
nice looking chat room this morning.
Yeah, we're just
Here,
waiting for the sound to come through.
On a Sunday morning, waiting for the
It's clearly
sound.
8:58 in the morning.
Yes, it is.
On a Sunday.
And it's still...
it's so nice now we don't have to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Doesn't matter. I still haven't changed my...
I know. You still get up at that time, right?
I mean, my clock... I go to sleep at 5. I wake up at 8. And I think it's 5 in the morning. Then I wake up at 11. Then I wake up at 3.
It's on.
We're on.
Yes,
We're on. And it's impossible. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you all. Look at the chat room. It's busting. Unbelievable. And I'm busting too because I got a big day.
Look at James K. heard us quickly. James K. heard us talking about despicable noises.
Oh, really?
So you just never know when the sound is going to come through for you.
You just got to be careful. Good morning to Chris from Cambridge, who's been here since 2 o'clock in the morning.
What's he doing?
I have no idea. He's become my idol. James Caprion is here. Mal Powell is here. Tommy Johnson is here. We got a whole bunch of guests, and we're ready to report all the baseball stuff, everything that you want to hear, and unbelievable, okay?
Where's Danny? Where's Captain Danny?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll be here. So today is a big day. It's a big day of, it's a B day. Today's a B day.
Okay.
Okay, you got,
what does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you what. I got bagels, I got boogers, I got boobs
and baseball.
And baseball. Okay? That's my day. Bagels, boobs, and baseball. All right? And you promised me...
Can you please not put your boogers on me?
And you promised me all. So I'm ready for everything, ready for anything. Nice to see everybody in the chat room filling up very nicely, and let's get to it. And I got to tell you, we're in a stage right now. This is a very interesting part of the baseball year. Andy and I spend a tremendous amount of time just doing research, trying to find certain things, tidbits, nuggets, all that stuff. Sound is good, thank you. Okay, but the point is that at this stage of the game, and I don't know how. Look, I love the beat writers, I love the sports writers, I love the writers, but the truth is that the writers at this time, they get paid for writing. They try to lighten things up. They try to make things interesting. I would say a good part of what you're reading and what we're discovering is bull dinky and poppycock, and Boston Paul is here. The writers make stuff up. I'm not going to try to be kind. They make stuff up so they can have entertaining articles. But some of the stuff that they're writing is just, it is what it is. But it's not, there is probably very little real stuff going on. Like somebody really overheard two general managers making a deal. That hasn't happened, okay? Every team is speculated to be everywhere, every player everywhere, and that's what we're up against right now.
Okay, so you wanted to start it out with Ohtani?
Well, SM King Turd is here.
Good morning to Turd.
Okay, and the Boston Paul. And Ohtani's a big example. I mean, if I asked you or anybody in the chat room, Leonard Donaldson is here.
Mal Powell, Tina,
everybody.
Paul.
Where do you think it seems like it's narrowed down in reality? Forget about what I'm reading. To me, there's only one place that Ohtani's going.
The Rangers?
No.
The Mariners?
No.
The Dodgers?
The Dodgers. That, to me,
Oh, well.
without reading anything, as a matter of fact, that's probably sometime, and this is interesting. If you want to learn about Ohtani, you'll see that the least amount written is about Ohtani to the Dodgers. Okay? As a matter of fact, John Heyman last week said Shohei Ohtani wants to be a Texas Ranger. Okay?
Why though? What is that based on? How does he know that? I mean,
it could be based on
Ohtani didn't say that.
No,
right?
Everything is based on. I'll say a whim.
Well, why do they present it like it? He wrote in the New York Post,
right?
Okay, that according to a report that John Heyman posted in the New York Post, Ohtani's preferred destination is Texas Rangers, followed by San Francisco Giants and the Dodgers.
Okay, you got nothing to lose. You're right.
So you gotta wait. So let's say you have a 1 in 10 chance of being right on all three.
They're selling newspapers. That's all they're doing. They're making headlines. This is their job. This is what they get paid for.
Well, they shouldn't present stuff as fact. That is presented that.
What's the fact?
That Ohtani's preferred destination is the Rangers, followed by the Giants and the Dodgers.
It might be, and whoever wrote this,
then this
probably heard Ohtani say, I really like the Dodgers. I really like Texas.
John Heyman wrote
Whatever
it.
So
you have to assume he's got the most insight of anybody because he is involved. Like he does have good sources, but when you just say that, okay, let's talk about the Angels. There's 4 teams that are potential landing spots, like according to these.
Well, everybody. They're not uninformed.
Okay, but they present,
informed.
And then these 4 teams, they at least present a reason why they feel that this would be a decent landing spot. The first one on the list is the Angels. We know the Angels opted not to trade Ohtani last season and to keep him, and they also invested a little bit right at the trade deadline to get to the postseason. But it did not work at all for them. One thing, I do not think he's going back to the Angels. They just don't have the pieces. I know they would want him. They say that it's their top priority to sign Ohtani this offseason. But one thing we know for sure, that they will extend him a qualifying offer, which he will not take. So they will absolutely get some kind of compensation when he signs for the next team. The other team on the list,
hold on a second. Before we continue, Joe from Staten Island is here. Joe Golina. There you go. You got Leonard Donaldson. You got Laura. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lady and the Legend. On a Sunday morning, Big Al on the prowl is here. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm the proudest guy in town. Go ahead.
Okay, the Dodgers spent most of last winter watching other teams make big plays in free agency. They did not do anything. But they have the money now, okay? They're saving.
And that's why you believe that the Dodgers are the team. It makes a lot of sense.
We think he's pretty comfortable in Southern California, but we don't know for sure that he even cares if he... I mean, California versus Texas, he's going to lose $50 million, okay? If he decides to sign in California for $500 million, he's going to lose $50 to $100 million.
Okay, big deal. He'll make it
in income tax. Texas has no income tax.
I get it, and that's a very good point. But you combine them with Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman.
Well, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great team if he went to the Dodgers.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a very that's the team. Most people would say the Dodgers only because it makes the most sense. There's very little written where anybody can pick out the Dodgers are the team he's going for. Yet somehow that's what we get.
What if Ohtani signs with the Giants?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I know the Giants were talking about Aaron Judge. They were talking about Carlos Correa. They were talking about a lot of big players, but very difficult to think that that signing Ohtani wouldn't only bolster the Giants' chances of winning the National League West, it would also keep them from keep Ohtani from going to the Dodgers.
Well,
why would they want to? I mean, and I understand that, but you don't keep Ohtani from going to the Dodgers.
How about this idea? The person that wrote about this, San Francisco Giants, he points out that they haven't had a face of the franchise since Buster Posey, and before that it was, remember, Tim Lincecum.
That's right.
And so I would say that this writer points this out, that Ohtani it's a great ballpark for pitchers, that's for sure. It's not so great for hitters, but some of these ballparks, who cares? If you're that good of a hitter, you're going to hit it out no matter what park you go to. Anyways, how about the Mariners? I'm a fan of the Mariners. The Mariners
wait a second. Joe Galena is in love with you now. Because he also believes that the Giants are the team that Ohtani's looking at. So,
all right, Joe, great to see you. Okay, not just because you agree, but it's great to see you. No,
it's because he agrees, okay? Go ahead, Joe.
All right, how about this Mariners? Apparently, the Mariners fans are clamoring for a guy like Ohtani. Of course, all fans are, right? They had the All-Star game in Seattle this year, and the fans in the crowd were screaming to Ohtani to come to Seattle, right? $80 million per year locked up for Julio Rodriguez, Luis Castillo, Robbie Ray, and J.P. Crawford, okay? They have the money. They have the money to do it if they want to. The Mets.
What about the Mets? The Mets, last year, when Steve Cohen came around, he made it his business to not to insult the other owners by spending all the money that he could spend. Okay. So he held off a little bit, and they're looking at Yamamoto, who will likely cost $200 million. Ohtani, they say, prefers to stay on the West Coast.
What do you think, Laura? How about Ohtani to the Mets? Nobody's talking about this one. The Mets did unload big money, but they're still paying part of it. Yeah. The thing about the Mets is it seems that money is not an issue with this team, right?
But will it help them? Okay?
Of course it's going to help them.
Are the Mets better off spending the money on two pitchers or on Ohtani plus offensively?
How about Alonso and Ohtani in the same lineup?
Okay, that's a pretty good lineup. That's
right.
And
they got the catcher over there, Francisco Alvarez, who is seeming to be a great backstop now behind the plate.
So if you think about it, but it makes no sense. They're talking about trading Alonso. They're talking about signing Ohtani. You see what I mean?
Who's talking about trading Alonso?
It's in the
vultures, because they don't like him.
Because they're making up stories.
Yes.
So you have a story out there with Alonso being traded. Then you have a story on the next page with the Mets getting Ohtani. It makes no sense. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that be very careful when you're reading about all these different plays.
Not just now, always.
Not just for Ohtani. The writers, God bless them, they want to spend money. They
don't know shit.
Well, you know what? Why should they know anything?
Well, they act like they do. That's the thing. They act like they know everything.
Sell papers and make the headlines.
Okay, fine.
That's what they do.
I get that's their job, but they need to be. They're so dishonest. That's all I have to say.
What about the Padres?
How about the Padres, Mal Palentina? Okay. The Padres, they have been one of the most aggressive teams in the league, okay, in the past couple years. So here you go with this AJ failure, okay?
SM King Turd, good morning.
So counting AJ failure out of anything is typically a foolish excuse, right? They're going to hire the janitor to replace Bob Melvin. Okay, that's according to Malpal. And it's not just according to Malpal. He shows me what Dennis Lin puts up from The Athletic on Twitter. He sends me the stuff that Dennis Lin says. And Dennis Lin came out and said that he was told straight up by Preller that Preller is fine with hiring a new manager who doesn't have No, he didn't say that. He actually did something that led Dennis Lin to believe that he would hire somebody with no experience as a coach. He hired another coach that had no previous experience. And I can't remember if he said it or not. But either way, that's where we came up with the whole janitor thing. The Padres have more than $210 million committed already next year. They're already going over the tax threshold. So why not, right?
Zelmo is here. Zelmo and Tony, go ahead.
So what if they trade Juan Soto, right? Who's expected to earn a raise to more than $30 million this year in his final year of arbitration. Can you believe that Juan Soto is still in arbitration? He's that young.
Yeah, and okay. So is Big Al on the prowl,
now,
by the way.
If they trade Soto, they'll save $30 million. I would say Ohtani's going to get paid somewhere in the range of $45 to $50 million a year, even if he would be smart to take the length, though, because he's not going to make it.
But you're talking about winning now.
Okay.
And Texas last year signed Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Jake DeGrom, Nate Eovaldi. Are you kidding me? And they win the World Series? Well, the Rangers have roughly $200 million committed in payroll.
So the Rangers, another team that's bound to break over the tax threshold, right?
That's right. And the Rangers, if they carry
How can they not?
To what they did last year, I mean, it could be. And then John Heyman comes out with the fact that he says that he's more comfortable in Texas.
Oh, he's more comfortable in Texas.
I don't know.
How would he know if he's comfortable in Texas?
I don't know.
Give me a freaking break. He plays in a stadium that's got a roof on top when it's too hot there.
That's not even it. Okay, here's the thing. I know these beat writers and the writers.
They suck.
They don't suck. They do their job. They poke around. They ask around. They listen in. But who would tell John Heyman or anybody else that he really likes Texas? Would you think Ohtani would? You think Heyman
he can't even, dude.
Do you think he heard Ohtani say that?
No, I don't.
That's why elevator or something.
You should always question this.
And what about the Boston Red Sox, led by the guys are not here? I mean, where's King Happ?
All right. Boston Paul is here.
Boston Paul's here. King Happ is not here.
Okay. So let's move on to the other things that we want to talk about.
How about the Red Sox? Any chance that the Red Sox, 3 last place finishes in the past 4 years, do you think they're going to make a splash this winter? They signed Masataka Yoshida from Japan last offseason.
Yes, and they're both from Japan, right? So you got that going on.
Oh, I don't know. Do you think that makes a difference? I don't think so. And
well, if they can, it's nice to have somebody that you speak the same language as on your team. Also, Pedro Martinez is out there trying to get them to sign Ohtani.
Okay.
Don't blame him there, right?
All right,
they have a brand new chief baseball officer, Craig Breslow.
Yeah.
He said he seems more likely to focus on improving the pitching staff, and Ohtani clearly is not going to be able to pitch until 2025.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that's the Ohtani stuff. Everything we've talked about,
Let me tell you some stories.
We've read about everything, but where are they getting this stuff from?
We're not doing depth charts right now.
Go ahead. I'm just typing things.
Here's what we did. We watched this show on MLB TV this morning called Epic Innings. It was great. I loved watching it. A lot of the stuff was shown in black and white. And I missed about 20 minutes of it to begin the hour. But I took notes of some of the things that we got to see this morning. Who do you think is the pitcher who went 1,500 scoreless innings straight? There's one pitcher.
1,500?
1,500?
I think that's a mistake.
It has to be, right?
Has to be. It's not 1,500.
Maybe 1,500 scoreless innings total in their career.
I don't know.
Oral Hershiser?
Yeah, he didn't do 15. 1,500.
I told you, I didn't get the notes going good. Here's the next one. I just said his name, so it's not trivia anymore. Cal Ripken, the most consecutive games played, okay?
Right. Cal Ripken.
Most consecutive games played
Who was the guy? Here's the real question to that. Who was so Cal Ripken?
I know who it was.
Who?
Who did he break the record of?
No.
Who had the record before Cal Ripken had it?
No.
Do you know who?
I'm not sure who had the record, but I do know that Cal Ripken was a player, and all of a sudden he gets he looks at the rosters before the game, and he sees that he is replacing the starting first baseman. After he replaced that first baseman never got into another game as a starter because Ripken did it all. Who was the player Cal Ripken replaced?
Oh, I don't know, but I know who the person that had the record of.
All right, let's go ask the chat room. Who was the person?
Nobody knows it.
I'll bet you somebody does.
Okay.
The person Cal Ripken replaced to start the record of the most consecutive games played. Come on, Big Al on the prowl, Boston Paul.
How about
Chris
this?
from
The
Cambridge,
most...
Danny Ferrara, Danny Fuller, James Caplion. Joe from Staten Island knows it. Laurel knows it. Malpal knows it.
Leonard Donaldson.
Turd. SM King Turd. Zilmo. Who's the player? I'll bet you, yeah. Who's the player?
Malpal says Drysdale. No,
the first baseman... The first base, Doug DeSenza?
Hello,
No.
Brian. Great to see you. Brian Jura is here.
Oh, Brian Jura is here. Good morning, Brian Jura. One of the greatest of all time in the, fantasy baseball people. Known him for a number of years. Really appreciate him. Who was the first baseman that was replaced by Cal? Who was it? You could say it, King Turd. I mean, I'm surprised everybody doesn't know it. Wasn't Brian Downing? No, the first baseman that was replaced. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
I want to move on. So
all right. So here comes the answer. I'm giving the answer. Are you ready? And you can look it up. Here's the answer. Wally Pipp was the first baseman that was replaced by... Yep, that's right. Wally Pipp was the first baseman that Cal Ripken replaced. Right.
Who has the most strikeouts in a World Series game?
Or it may even be it may have been third base. I think it was first base, but it was Wally Pipp.
Okay, who has the most strikeouts in a World Series game? It happened in 1968, Game 1, Tigers versus the Cardinals, and it was happening on black and white TV. Okay.
Len Cicada? Wait, are you kidding me? Go ahead.
Ripken.
Oh, wait a second.
No.
Wait a second. Brian Jura corrects me, and you're right. Wally Pipp he was the player that Lou Gehrig replaced.
Well, that's interesting because Lou Gehrig had the record for the most consecutive games before Cal Ripken did.
And Lou Gehrig was the one that replaced Wally Pipp.
All right.
The answer, I don't know who it is now.
Well, now we do.
Somebody, it might be Doug DeSenza, but Wally Pipp, may have he had consecutive games, but he was replaced by Lou Gehrig, he was replaced by Lou Gehrig.
Okay, so who took over Cal Ripken's spot? Turd lets us know it was former Oklahoma basketball and baseball star Ryan Miner who replaced Cal Ripken.
That's the guy who replaced Ripken, okay?
Yes. Now let's move.
I remember Ryan Miner. Right.
Who has the most strikeouts in a World Series game as a pitcher?
It had to be Bob Gibson.
Okay, Bob Gibson, 1968, Game 1, Tigers versus Cardinals.
I am embarrassed. I thought Wally Pipp was Cal Ripken.
Al Kaline came up. It was his first World Series in 15 years. This guy struck out 4 times. It was Harry Carey calling the game. Bob Gibson says the reason he was able to strike out 17 against Chan Ho Park.
Tino Luna has
that's
joined
wrong.
us. Good morning,
Not Chan Ho
Tino.
Park.
What?
Blamed his curveball. Okay, Bob Gibson.
All right, Bob Gibson. Are you kidding me? Bob Gibson. One of the things about Bob Gibson was if you're a teammate of Bob Gibson, you could not talk to the opposition before the game. You know, sometimes
Or
they'd be
during.
on the field or during a game. Bob Gibson, they say, was the... Lenny, you just wanted to make headlines becoming I did want to become a reporter, but I can't type. Anyway, that's the story.
Good morning to Tito Luna.
Good morning, Tito Luna. Good morning, Brian Jura. I love you when you're here, Brian. Go ahead.
In 1999, Chan Ho Park was pitching against Fernando Tatis Sr.
Yes.
He was up for the Cardinals at Dodger Stadium. He hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. He was the only guy to do it, and it was the first 2 grand slams of his career. He had 8 RBIs in that inning, 11 runs on the board in that inning, and Mark McGwire was on the team.
And Doug DeSantis was replaced by Cal Ripken.
Also,
Wally Pipp was replaced by somebody else, but still. Unbelievable.
One more game I want to tell you what I saw on Epic Innings this morning. One more game. September 18th, 2006. The score was 9-5. San Diego ahead of the Dodgers. Malpal, you probably remember this. Danny, you too. Jeff Kent hits a home run leading off the 9th inning, so the score was 9-6 San Diego. J.D. Drew comes up, very next batter, hits another home run. The score is now 9-7 San Diego. Bochy was the manager of the Padres at the time. Jeff Hoffman was pitching. He hadn't blown a save for 5 years, okay? And the next batter comes up, it's Russell Martin, and now the game is 9-8 San Diego.
What are you getting at?
The very next batter, this is the 4th batter in the row.
Gosh.
The score is now 9-9 after the 4th home run in a row. But that at the time it had only occurred 4 times in MLB history, and it's actually occurred 6 times since 2006. But Nomar Garciaparra came up and hit a 5th home run, and the Dodgers won the game.
Fantastic. We didn't learn a God-blessed thing. Next, Triple Play is here. Good morning to Triple Play. Look, the chat, I'll tell you something. The thing to talk about is the chat room. Nobody gets 21 people, 23, 5, whatever. Fabulous. Thank you for your support. Okay, go ahead. I said go ahead. And
Did you see at Citi Field again, they broke another record for the Dominican League.
Oh, they did? Okay, so let's get on to some nuggets and tidbits. They broke another record for the Dominican League. And so I'll tell you what. What does that mean? Do you think... Now, they've taken it and they've said that baseball is so popular. Is it because baseball is so popular? There's 33,000 people at Citi Field. There are 25,000 the day before.
Yeah.
For
the Dominican League.
The Dominican League championship game. But I got to tell you, is it because there are more Dominicans in New York now, or is it because of baseball's popularity? What do you think?
I think it's great fun for people to go there.
I'm not saying that. But is it because there are more Dominicans or because baseball is more popular?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Probably baseball. But there's a lot of Dominicans here right now.
Okay. A lot of talk about Aaron Nola. He's not the only quality starting pitcher on the market. But the Phillies have to make a big decision. And there's plenty of alternatives around.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Jordan Montgomery is around. They got Yamamoto, Snell. They got Sonny Gray. They got
Jordan Montgomery,
Corbin Burns,
lefty.
Tyler Glasnow. What do you think the Phillies are going to do? Are they going to re-sign Aaron Nola? They can.
They should.
Of course they should. The Phillies are a contending team.
But... I got to bring up Trevor Bauer for a second. He was on X.
Can you wait until Nola's done and then you go
I'm talking about the Phillies.
Oh, okay. The Phillies. Yeah, go ahead.
Because Trevor Bauer was on X yesterday, courting fans, okay, as only Trevor Bauer could. This is what I know for sure. He he adds pitches constantly. The whole time he was suspended, he was throwing the baseball every single day. This guy has so many pitches that he can throw. He doesn't even have names for all of them.
What does that have to do with
Well, he was talking about the Phillies. There was an article yesterday about the Phillies. He said he loves a Philly steak sandwich. He's courting the fans, and he takes in a lot of hate, and he takes in a lot of fandom, too. It's pretty crazy, but I just want to say that I don't know if Bauer's going to be any good. Nobody really does, because look, he's only ever really had one great season and another good season. If his work ethic has any effect on how good he's going to pitch, then I have to believe that he's got it.
All right. So
that he's at the prime of his life as far as a pitcher is concerned.
How much are you spending? Let's say it's your draft. It's a mixed league, $260 mixed league. How much are you spending to get Trevor Bauer? And don't tell me that you're not going for him.
Oh, I'm going to.
How much are you going to spend?
However much I have to, I guess.
What do you mean? Well, see, you got another knucklehead who's willing to spend $21. You going to go 22?
No, but I don't have to. That's the thing. Somebody in the chat room right now is going to try to outbid me for Trevor Bauer. And they only have the balls to go up to like 5 or 7.
Do you have the balls to go higher than that?
Maybe.
Really?
But there is a point in time where I'm going to just say let you have them because you're being an ass to me by...
What do you think you're going to do? Of course, you can't tell now because a lot of it has to do with if you spent too much in previous picks. But how much are you going to spend, roughly? How much are you going to put on Trevor Bauer?
Probably $10.
$10.
That's just, look.
So 10 to 12, maybe 15 if you got the money. But you're not going 2021.
One other thing that I would like to point out about Bauer is the fact that he has this very unique warm-up routine that he does. And he's done it since he came from the minor leagues and since he started pitching in the majors. The media has given him nothing but crap over this. They've made fun of him. They don't like the guy, obviously. But he does this specific warm-up routine with the whole goal of not getting injured. It's like he warms up before he warms up. And whether or not that's the reason, I don't know. But you can bet, you can assume that Bauer is such a workhorse. He does not... When was the last time he was injured? He doesn't get injured. So like I'm saying, I don't know for sure if it's his very unique warm-up routine that he does, but it's specifically to keep him from getting hurt, and so far in his career, it's worked.
And you talked about the Phillies. Let's just take a look. The Phillies is an interesting team. They're definitely a contending team. Bryce Harper's been announced to be the new first baseman. I know you talked about this yesterday. Rhys Hoskins he's got a bad knee, and he's eligible to go elsewhere. It looks like he will. But we saw Brandon Marsh in the Arizona Fall League. And what did you think of Brandon Marsh? Okay, now I know we both liked him. He's got the beard. He's very aggressive on the bases. Last year, I think it was his breakout year. What do you think? Is Brandon Marsh a left-handed hitter? What do you think about Brandon Marsh in that lineup? And how much do you expect to pay for Brandon Marsh? A relatively new player, but we discovered him. So what do you think about Brandon Marsh?
He's okay. He's a $5-6 player.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm not as high.
I would go 10-11 on Brandon Marsh. I wonder if anybody else in the chat room would. All right, Nick Castellanos we know about. Alec Boehm, who we also saw and liked him. His value has risen up. And Bryson Stott, boy, oh boy, did he come on. He had a great Arizona Fall League. By the way, they got the Arizona Fall League championship game coming on soon.
Now listen to Turd, his idea of Marsh. He says he has Marsh pigeonholed as a Verdugo type.
Okay.
Now, I don't think Verdugo tries to run bases, but I will say that Brandon Marsh impressed me a lot because this guy was going and nobody was stopping him. When he made the attempt to run, he went to second base. And I think that his ability to steal bases and hit for some power might make him a different. Verdugo doesn't steal, right? He's a power guy.
He's absolutely right. Both of them can do double-digit steals.
Okay.
Both of them can do double-digit home runs. And both of them are going to hit in the middle of the order. Absolutely right. Brandon Marsh, nice player, but not enough to spend money before. If you spend too much on the Brandon Marsh, you're going to be in trouble. You got to be very careful. Okay.
Boston Paul says no more than $10 on Marsh, and he says he likes Bryson Stott as a poor man's Francisco Lindor. He'll pay $22 for Bryson Stott.
Ooh, how about that? And I think one of the interesting things in the offseason, I think Craig Kimbrell's days as the closer are numbered.
Yes, for sure. Dude.
And he's going to be out.
How about Hoffman? Is this the new Jeff Hoffman?
Well, look, Alvarado was there. Sir Anthony Dominguez. They got a good lefty-righty.
They do have a good bullpen.
But they're going to be good. One of the interesting things, they're going to be going after a big-time closer.
Do you remember just a few years ago when it went like 6 years and the Phillies didn't have a lefty in their rotation for like 6 years?
The Phillies did not have a lefty in their rotation.
They do now. They have a couple. What about Luzardo? He's the number one pitcher on the Miami Marlins.
Well, who's the guy? Oh, that's Malpal.
No, is that the Marlins? Yeah, he's still on the Marlins.
Malpal,
Luzardo.
a big Luzardo guy.
Yuri Perez, Luzardo, the lefty. Trevor Rogers, is he ever going to come back? This guy was such a disappointment, but he could be a potential sleeper next year. Trevor Rogers. The problem is I don't think any of us have been able to really pinpoint the problems that Trevor Rogers is having with batters, but he's not doing great, and right now he's injured. He is one of 3 lefties in the rotation for the Marlins. And, I love that Yuri Perez, okay? 2 lefties, 1 and 2 for the Marlins, and then Yuri Perez, but we all know Yuri could be the number 1 next year. They also have Edward Cabrera as
he's the guy. I've been talking about him for over a year, and you think AJ... So you got Edward Cabrera, who I think is going to be... look, don't forget, Sandy Alcantara will not be playing this year, coming off of Tommy John surgery. But what do you think there's going to be a lot of interesting closers. Now, they got Tanner Scott and A.J. Puck. If you had to make a choice, who would you spend your money on to be the closer in Miami? Would it be
I would say Puck.
A.J. Puck or Tanner Scott?
What about Tanner Scott? Are they both lefties?
They're both lefties.
Holy moly. Remember when you didn't like closers because if they were lefties, they weren't good closers?
That's right, but who do you think...
But you don't think that anymore, or what?
If you have to make a choice, tell the people in the chat room, who are you going to go after? A.J. Puck, who did a great job as a closer, or Tanner Scott, who did even a better job as a closer?
Well, I think A.J. Puck will be the effector because he can pitch more than an inning if they need him to, and I think Tanner Scott will probably get more saves.
Good one. Tito Luna, Joe from Staten Island. Good to see you both in the chat room. Brian Jurek, good to see you too. We are rocking and rolling. Okay. Nice going, kid. Who else you want to talk about? Chicago Cubs. Now, the Cubs have made it with the managerial change. The Cubs are going to be in it.
The Cubbies.
They
better get a pitcher then or two.
Well, they got to get a couple of players.
They need a Bellinger back. They don't have.
But the Cubbies are in it.
Heimer Candelario's gone. They're just going to miss too many people to free agency to think that they're any good. They have Dansby. He's great. Seiya Suzuki finished the season excellent.
Oh, yes, he did. He had a great end of the season. But what do you think? Now, look, they made this big managerial move. They made a commitment. They say we're going to be in the running to improve our team. How do you improve your team, and how do you make that managerial move to get, what's his name?
They went and got Craig Counsell from the Brewers.
Craig Counsell. And at the same time you get Craig Counsell to improve your team, you lose Cody Bellinger. That makes no sense at all.
And you lose Marcus Stroman, and now your best pitcher, which is a good pitcher, Justin Steele. But the next best guy on the list is freaking Kyle Hendricks or Jameson Taillon.
Well,
I mean...
Okay, but Stroman wanted to become a free agent. We knew all that. But the question is, the Yankees are going to be involved in Cody Bellinger. You can bet your sweet petunia. The Yankees want 2 left-handed outfielders. Bellinger. The Bellinger race in the offseason could be the most. Now, I want you to think about what player are you watching as the number one free agent, the number one free agent battle? Cody Bellinger, in my opinion, is the guy.
What about Tommy Johnson? He says he doesn't understand the logic about what the Cubbies and Brewers did. They haven't really switched managers yet, but David Ross doesn't have a job.
Right.
So there's a chance he goes there. I think that would be cool.
You know what? They lost me on that as well, about the significance of making that managerial move. But along with, how do you make that managerial move and lose your best player? That makes no sense. Baseball team loses its best player as a free agent and at the same time makes such a big deal about getting a manager. A manager, to me, the manager's job is to create an atmosphere in the clubhouse conducive to winning.
Yeah, and David Ross did that, though.
He did fine.
I mean...
But having the team all on the same page, not being... There are many clubhouses, I'm told, that you go in and you can tell it's nothing. There's no spirit. There's no camaraderie. You go into other clubhouses and they're ready to win together. That's what they're trying to do in Chicago.
I mean,
But at the same time, how do you lose Cody Bellinger, your best player?
Right. Well, and at the same time they lost Bellinger and Stroman, they spent $40 million on Craig Counsell for 4 years, or it's $8 million a year according to Tom Johnson. $8 million a year they're paying Craig Counsell, and a total of $40 million according to James Kay. So. What the hell? They could have spent that $40 million on Bellinger and kept David Ross. It doesn't really make sense to me, but it's not for me to make sense of.
And then you take a look at the championship winning Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, they're losing Evan Longoria. They're going to lose Lourdes Gurriel. They're going to lose Tommy Pham. This is another team that's going to really shake things up in the offseason.
You think Counsell's going to bring players from the Brewers to the Cubs?
I think what he's going to do is force the Cubs to make a statement that they're all, and they have made the statement, they're all in on free agent players. They're trying to improve their team.
Sonny Gray would be good there.
But, as I say, how do you make that statement and at the same time lose your best player? That's what I don't get. And you still a big Zach Gallen guy?
Yes, of course.
You still are, right?
Yes, how could I not be?
Okay. And of course...
Pitching the best of his life, but I won't probably have him on any teams because I refuse to spend that much money on a pitcher.
And then, of course, like you have the Yankees, the Dodgers, I mean, could the Dodgers lose Clayton Kershaw? Could you imagine... There are just some players that just don't look right on another team.
Yeah, like Votto on any team besides the J.R. Matz's Reds.
Right.
So, if you're out there, J.R. Matz, hello to you.
Yes.
Hello to your family.
So what do you think?
Yeah, Bellinger opted out. It's rare to be 28 and a free agent from Tommy Johnson.
Yep. No question about it.
And Vogt, he's a manager now of somewhere. Who's he a manager of? I really liked Vogt. Came out.
Yep.
I forget the team that he's managing, but he said that, he puts his family and the people on the new team are big into family. Is that a Reds thing? I don't know. Where did Stephen Vogt go to manage?
But all I know is that the Dodgers...
The Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, Cleveland Indians.
The Guardians.
Dodgers, if the Dodgers pick up Ohtani, now... This is going to be Gavin Lux ready to come back and play. But Jason Hayward, J.D. Martinez, David Peralta, are you kidding me? The Dodgers are going to lose quite a few players, and they're going to be very active in the free agent market. It can't only be Ohtani. The Dodgers have a lot of left-handed hitters: Freeman, Muncy, Outman. But it's going to be the Dodgers have to do more than just. They're going to lose Lance Lynn. They may lose Clayton Kershaw. I don't know if Ohtani signs with the Dodgers.
They need more pitching.
Clayton Kershaw, absolutely.
Yes,
but Walker Buehler's going to come back. And that's it. Blake Trinan's coming back.
So Walker Buehler, what do you think of him? Is he going to... He might... Look, we know he can get it done on the mound when he's healthy. His fantasy value is going to be very low compared to his ceiling, I think. I mean, I know we thought maybe he would be back at... When we drafted last year, we thought maybe Walker Buehler would come back at some point, and he was still being drafted super late, if at all, in drafts, and he didn't come back. But if you drafted him last year thinking that he could come back and do something in the last round of your draft, then you have to draft him again, right? You can't just give up on the guy.
And then
Walker Buehler, Danny and Penny, what's your take?
No, Walker Buehler is going to have an innings limit.
Yeah,
but when they talk about the Giants being one of the teams active to get Ohtani, you can't do it. You look at their Lamont Wade, J.D. Davis, Mitch Haniger, Michael Conforto.
Wilmer, as long as they have Wilmer,
you can't put Ohtani in a lineup with nobody.
They're going to get people.
You can't. Well, they got to get a lot of people. I mean, they got Luciano, Haniger, Matos.
They're losing Crawford. Not that that's great, but and Jock Peterson's gone. What about their pitching? Is okay. Their pitching. They need another pitcher. They don't have a fifth starter, and they do have the great one and only Logan Webb. But I have a feeling he's no secret anymore.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
Big Al, love you, man. Boston Paul, thank you. You got Chris from Cambridge. You got Daniel Ferrara, Danny Fuller, Joe from Staten Island, Joe Galena. Love him. Love his wife. Love you all. Leonard Donaldson, Laura.
We love Staten Island, too.
Unbelievable. SM King Turd, Tito, Luna, Tommy Johnson, Triple Play, Zelmo. Look out, everybody. Brian Jura, back again. It's unbelievable. Nobody has more fun than us. Nobody. And we're talking baseball. And nobody has more fun than Roto Lady and the Legend talking baseball on Sunday morning. Glad to be here, says Joe, and we are thrilled to have you. Absolutely thrilled. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning for a very, for Lenny at 9 o'clock. We thank you.
And thanks to the Hulkster Daniel for coming around.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. We'll talk to you tomorrow.